Hello, everyone. Hi, my name is Carla. I'm with the Affinity Black, and we have here with us my cousin Julie. She's going to be co hosting with me tonight. Introduce yourself, Julie. Where are you from? What's going on? Give us something.
All right, hello world. How y'all doing tonight? Thank you, cuz, for inviting me today. And I'm Juliet. I am a professional academic advisor by work, but I am a creative. I am someone who really love the arts and identity and culture. So I try to do stuff outside of work around that. I'm part of Garifuna Sisterhoods of Atlanta, so you may have seen my face at some point, maybe on Facebook. And if not, then subscribe and find us and like our page. But yep, I'm here. I'm excited to co-host with you, cuz.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your organization with GSA?
Yep, I'm here. I'm excited to co-host with you, cuz. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm hearing the feedback, and I don't know if that's just
Hold on
me.
1 second.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm hearing the feedback, and I don't know if that's just
Hold on
me.
1 second.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm hearing the feedback, and I don't know if that's just
Hold on 1 second.
okay. Sorry, I'm hearing the feedback, and I don't know if that's just
Okay, can you hear it still? Oh, there you go. There you go.
Okay, let me try. Sorry, I meant to probably get off YouTube. I don't
Oh,
hear it now.
there
Okay.
you go. Okay,
Okay.
we're back. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about GSA, what it's about, what does it stand for? Just get enlighten the audience about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Garifuna Sisterhoods of Atlanta, we started off as a community organization of just a group of ladies. Garifuna, we're all Garifuna, and we also come from the same background in terms of like Honduras is the birthplace of our parents and some of the members too. So, we wanted a space pretty much for women to come together, kind of break some of that stereotype that women can't come together and have meaningful and fruitful relationships. And we wanted to be a network for each other as well, for ourselves and like others too, our families, things of that nature. So, our mission is to empower our community, to help women be self sufficient, and to help them navigate resources that are available to them so that way they are educationally, socially, economically, medically, their needs are met and they're aware and they're educated about the resources that do exist here. So that was a lot, but we are working towards formalizing our organization, and we got some activities that we want to put out in the future. We're looking into mentorship and starting a mentorship program, especially for our community. So just a lot of good things ahead. Mhm.
That's great. Good stuff. Good stuff. So is that only based in Atlanta? Is it like for people in other parts of the United States, like New York City and stuff like that?
Yeah. Yeah, so we're based here in Atlanta, but we've actually had like connections with people from New York who's come here and done events or coordinate and collaborate. So yeah, we're open to working with everybody. We have a directory. I should have said that earlier.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Um, that is 2 years old. And when you asked about, do we work with everyone? Essentially, you just register your information, and we got info from Garifuna businesses and organizations here in the U.S.
Mhm.
In Europe and Honduras and other parts of Central America. So it's like a little global resource that connects a lot of us together. But
Mhm.
yeah, but right now we're home based here, so a lot of the stuff we're doing is here in Georgia.
Oh, that's good. So where did
Mhm.
the idea come from? Like, the topic of tonight's discussion is the importance of believing in oneself and manifestation. So, like, where did the idea come from, and how did you guys bring it to fruition?
Yeah, one day I had a wonderful dream. No, I'm just kidding. But no, um, my sister Diana, love you sis. We've talked one day, just like sharing our personal experiences in life as a young adult, because she pretty much raised me like a mom in a sense. So it was just in the conversation. We realized we had so much in common that we didn't even know about each other.
Right.
And wanting to have more of those type of spaces with other women, other cousins, other relatives, and things of that. So we manifested the space. Hey, so that way we can all benefit and thrive and be wonderful together. And here we are.
Thank you, Julia. That was like amazing. We love it. We have to definitely support GSA. And we're gonna link the information here in the description box, so and everyone can like look that up and join. We also have here with us today Eddie B. He's also a family member of ours, and he is a part of the LGBTQIA community. He's someone very near and dear to me. Eddie and I grew up together, and we're from the same bloodline. He's amazing. He's awesome. But Edwin, I'm just gonna let you introduce yourself to everyone because we're honoring you today and everyone within your community. We can't hear you. Wait, hold on a second. Let me take you off mute. Unmute yourself. We can hear you.
Opening my stop. First of all, thank you so much for having me here, and I'm so excited to be a part of this conversation today. So just thank you for making time for me.
Thank you for coming on.
So like Carla said, my name is Edwin, but everyone calls me Eddie. I was born and raised in the South Bronx. I am the child of immigrant parents. Both my parents were born and raised in Honduras. I lived in New York up until about the age
Uh-oh, wait a minute.
and moved to Atlanta to go to college.
Okay. So can you describe what your upbringing was like? What that
Sure.
was?
So upbringing, I guess I should tell you guys a few more facts about me. So
Right.
I am a personality and I'm rooted in personal development. So I was on a TV show on USA Network called She's the Boss, and I was one of the headliners. So go check it out when you have some time. You could Google on YouTube and you can say She's the Boss, Eddie, and I'll come up and then you'll see some of my funniest moments. But something else about me is that I'm really rooted in personal development and just teaching people how to see the best in themselves and how to manifest and want more in life.
That is awesome. So what exactly do you do?
So right now I work
Hold on one second.
and I got a concentration in industrial organizational psychology, which is the study of the workplace. So basically, like human resources. So although I'm not in human resources, I study the psychology of human resources in school. So right now I work corporate and I work in the department in for a big company. And can't disclose so much about what I do, but I definitely work corporate. I work a 9 to 5. And aside on my free time when I wasn't working my 9 to 5 part two, I was working another corporate job where I was a personal assistant where I got the opportunity to film a show for a major TV network on USA.
So, the topic of today's discussion is the importance of believing in oneself and manifestation.
Yeah.
Juliet told us a little bit about GSA and what exactly it stands for, and what took you to doing what you decided to do, like become a personality TV, you know.
100%. So growing up in the South Bronx, and I'm a millennial, I'm 25 years old, and growing up in the South Bronx in the early 2000s was not easy. It was very difficult. There was, like Connor said, when I grew up, it was the LGBT community. Now it's the LGBTQI plus community, and it has become a wide spectrum, and people identify on different sides of the spectrum. But growing up in New York City, especially in the South Bronx, in the neighborhood that I grew up in, that was so underserved, it was not safe for people to freely be themselves because prior to 2012, it wasn't a hate crime to harm someone who you would assume while walking on the street, oh, okay, because this person is too feminine, you automatically gay, or you automatically think that this person is different. Let's not label on the parts of the spectrum. Let's just say someone would see someone that's different and they would use that opportunity to harm that person. So going to school in the South Bronx, you won't believe this, but like I learned like my neighborhood so well that I would take the side streets to go home because there were no people on the side streets. If I would have took the main street, there was like a row of houses. There's a row of affordable housing projects there, so there were just always people in front of on the main strip. So literally, 156 was the block where everything was hot, but then 157 was like residential and it was peaceful. So I would literally walk on 157. Then if you walk too far, it hits another neighborhood. So I would turn on another corner and that's when it was like safe and I would walk and get home. So, growing up, it wasn't easy. It really wasn't actually till I got to college that I actually made friends with people who looked like me and identified like me.
So what was it like for you though? Like as growing up before you
Well,
completely came
before,
out?
sure. So before I completely came out, and so I guess I would say I am a gay man, and I'm an openly gay man, but my pronouns are he, him. So don't play with me. And and if we have a point, we call it, and we could introduce the she and the her. We don't know each other. You meet me, it is he, him. Let's say it together, he, him. So like I said, growing up during that time, so I did things like play on sports teams because if I was playing a sports team, then people were less likely to think that I was, gay or I was different. So for me, it was hard growing up in a home with parents who were immigrants who didn't get to pursue higher education. Not saying that higher education changes your way of thinking, but college offers you opportunity to get to know different people from different walks of life. And the goal is, with the opportunity, is supposed to expand your mind. So because my parents were laborers and construction workers and maintenance workers, they didn't really get the opportunity that let's say some of my family members who got a chance to pursue higher education did. So I did grow up in a home that was very strict, and my dad, he was an alpha male, and I'm one of four brothers. He saw that I was different growing up. You know what I'm saying? He saw that there was something different in me that my other siblings didn't possess. And that was difficult for him to respond to. And that made it difficult for us to have a relationship because it was hard for him to accept what he saw was becoming. So we never had one thing you'll learn about growing up in a Latino home is that some conversations never get had. And it doesn't mean that you're not necessarily loved. It's just that that's not our parents' purview. That's not their capacity. They're like, you go to school, go see a counselor. We know that there's a guidance counselor in school. Go talk to them about that. But, it's not that easy when home is the place where you're supposed to learn how to interact with people, where you're supposed to learn how to kind of have these difficult conversations. And when doesn't become a safe space, then onto, and I had mentors that were able to support me in understanding myself and helping me understand that just because I was gay didn't mean that I wasn't going to succeed.
Right. And so like what was your relationship like with your parents, like growing up and knowing that you were different?
My mom always supported me. I was her right hand. I learned a lot from her. I learned how to cook, how to clean, how to be domesticated. Most of my hard work and who I am today is because of my mom. You can grow up in a two-parent home and feel alone. And one thing I will say is that my father, he did instill work ethic in all me and my siblings, and he was a provider. And when a man is a provider, then everything else, we kind of like passed our eye over it or swift past those things because he's providing. You know what I'm saying? Like, go talk to your mom. And I'm receiving repercussions for being myself. And some of those repercussions would just look like what happens when someone doesn't know how to manage their emotions. And instead of saying, hey, son, like, I'm scared of what the world's going to think to you, he would lash out and just do things that are inappropriate, like say things that you shouldn't say to your kid or get physical because of your frustration. And one will consider it abuse, but when that's what you are taught, it's called a pathology. And that's how he was brought up and raised. He was born and raised in Honduras, and his father used to pounce on him. So people habituate the habits that they see in their home. If you don't learn better, you won't do better. So in my father's mind, he didn't think he was abusing me. He thought he was saving me. You see that juxtaposition, how that could be crazy? Like, in one sentence, you're harming me, but as an adult, I learned that although he was causing harm to me as a kid, he was also trying to save me because he was afraid of what the world would do to me. So if he gave me a taste of what the world would do, maybe I would deviate from it. But this is who I was. You know what I'm saying? This is who God made me. And I believe that because of the success that I've achieved today at such a young age, that people weaponize Christianity and say that someone who's Christian cannot believe in God. Someone who's gay is an abomination. I've been told I'm an abomination numerous times. I've had conversations with people when I'm in their home having dinner with them, and they literally told me, like, hey, you want to like, hey, do you want to know the truth? I'm like, sure, tell me the truth. Well, I believe that being gay is an abomination, and if my and he lineage. And I said, wow, that's so crazy. So I asked him, look at all that I've achieved. So because I'm gay, I'm an abomination. I can't continue my father's legacy because of what I choose to do in my personal time. And he felt perplexed because those were his thoughts, but his thoughts didn't align with the success that I've achieved.
Mm-hmm. And growing up, the way that your dad, like how hard he was.
Kind of went like,
Okay, the way that your dad raised you, like did that affect you growing up? Like,
you know what? I don't think it affected me. I wouldn't say it affected me growing up because I've always been resilient. I would say it affects me today in my adult life. And I'll tell you a few reasons how it shows up in my adult life. But growing up, I was just resilient and
mm-hmm.
very rooted in personal development. I believe that this was my first encounter with God. I was 8 years old, and I'm an old soul. My parents had me late; they were late bloomers, so they had me very later on in life. And so by the time I was, by the time I was in my 20s, my mother was already in her early 50s, her late 50s. So you know, she grew up. My mother was born in '62, so you know, my mom's an old soul. So I've always been an old soul. So as I got older and as I realized I was 8 years old and I couldn't understand why I was in the turmoil that I didn't know how to call it turmoil then, but now that I look back at it, I was in this just like turmoil and this just constant just like chaos and like disruption. I remember just like this. It came to me one day and I was just like, why is this going on? And it came to me and what I remember, it came to me clearly in my mind. It said that this too shall pass. And that one day I would live a life of peace and I would be okay and I'll be happy and on my own. And I'm happy, I'm on my own and I'm at peace now. And I'm 25 years old and I live in my own apartment. I live in a beautiful neighborhood in Atlanta that coming from New York, I could have never imagined being in this space so young and being able to take care of myself. But it took a road to get here. And it took being resilient when I was younger. So you said the topic today is about believing in yourself. I always believed in myself. Instead of using those opportunities to be bitter and to be angry, I leaned into love and nurturing. And I became someone who shows up for people, always had a positive outlook on life because I felt like, why would I lean into those moments when God already told me that one day I'll be okay? So I felt like at 8, He was preparing me for what was to come. Because now that I look back at my life, from about 8 till about the time I would say I moved to Atlanta, and I would say at the time I fled New York City. I left New York City and I did not want to look back.
Mm-hmm.
And I look
Yeah.
back because
Julia looks like she resonates with that, right?
in New York,
Mhm.
time it is. It's that fast life. It's that life.
Mhm.
It's in New York, and it's nothing like someone from New York City. You know,
Mhm.
they say if you can live in New York, you can live anywhere. And it's so crazy. As I matriculated at Morehouse, some of my friends who we were friends when school started, but they would see me on campus. They say, "Yeah, you used to like run around on campus and move." I said, "Oh my God!" When I sat with my therapist, I said, "Oh, I didn't even realize because I was on the run and so much unhealed trauma that." I didn't even catch up to the fact that I was in the South now and things were slower and this was no longer New York City. But because who you are follows you, even though in my mind at the time I'm like, oh, I'm New York is past me. I'm done with New York. I'm in Atlanta now. I'm a Georgia peach. I'm no longer a bitter apple. I'm the tastiest peach in Atlanta. That I was nobody could tell me nothing. But what I didn't realize until I got in intensive therapy was that there was so much unhealed trauma and that you could run, 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 run. But if you don't heal your problems, let me tell you something, that problems will always be knocking on your door for the rest of your life until you solve your issue. You can run from your issues, but if you don't solve them and deal with them, they will haunt you for the rest of your life. You will be 55, 65, 75, 50, still dealing with issues as a teenager.
Well,
And
Edward,
hmm?
we talked about like we have a lot of conversations, but we talked about like what took you to that space of like wanting to heal, and like your past experiences and stuff like that. At what point did you realize that you were affected by those things, like, and what process did you go through?
Sure. So in 2015, after my father transitioned,
Mhm.
When I say transition, I have learned that the soul and the spirit is everlasting. The only thing that dies when we die is flesh and blood because it cannot enter heaven. These are all things that are biblical and could be supported by the word of the Lord if you believe in it. I'm not making up these things. And because the soul and the spirit is everlasting, that's why his soul transitioned and his body died.
Mhm.
Now, prior to that time, I found out about Iyanla Van Zant, and I started watching Iyanla Fix My Life. And me and my cousin was like, something is wrong here. And it's like, how do we have all these productive relationships? But when we interact with our families, it's like toxicity. But we're able to show up in the world and have these healthy relationships with people who are not our family, who I would consider my soul family, people who are not your relatives, but you choose to be in relationship with because their values and morals align with you, and we respect one another most importantly. And I realized we was like, something's wrong. So we started reading Yesterday I Cried by Yana Van Zandt. And it was her first ever book. And she just she told the rock gut honest truth. And she just said, the people who raised me were crazy. And it doesn't make them wrong. They did the best they could with what they knew. People can't give you what they can't give themselves. And our parents, especially parents who grew up in poverty, as a child of an immigrant, the injustices that have been visited upon African Americans here no one can equate to the years of brutality that we have experienced just because of the color of our skin,
Mhm.
but also a brutality that immigrants experience
Mhm.
and poverty. Okay, the poverty in the United States is nothing equivalent to the poverty in third world countries. There are resources in the 50 states, okay? If you don't have no insurance, there's Medicare. If you don't have a job, there are food stamps. If you need housing, there's housing at an affordable rate.
Mhm.
In countries, it is currency and currency speaks. There's no insurance, there's no public assistance, there's no resources for people who are poor. And the country is led by currency. And when it comes to poverty, from coming from lands where my mom said, I never understood why my mother has so many blankets in the house. And one day we were talking, and out of nowhere, she says, I remember those cold days when I was growing up in the campo in Honduras, which is like the villages, which is what would be a campo. And now I see why she has 50 blankets, because she remembered those days being cold. And she told herself when she was younger, I never want to be cold again. So instead of having two blankets or three blankets, she has 50 blankets. Because in her mind, oh, I'll never be warm again. I'll never be cold again. Sorry.
Mhm. Juliet, like, what do you think about like what
Yeah.
he
I'm
has a lot?
listening. You first of all, hey, I'm also from the South Bronx here in Atlanta. And I'm at Georgia Tech for
He's from
Oh, you
Atlanta.
are? Oh, wow. I went to Morehouse.
look at that, look at that. See, hey, you're doing it out here. Because the transition is by itself is a journey,
Mhm.
but just being able to be 25 and on your own and just pulling your resources together to make things happen for you. So I want to put that out there. But
We
my
can,
question to you,
sure. Life,
mm,
what choices? It's always about what choices you are making and what sacrifices you are making. And that's the beauty of fasting, why the Bible tells us to fast.
mm,
Because if you want to get something, you have to give something too. It's just like building a business. If you want to make some money, you have to invest the money to be made. It's the same thing as when you fast. If you fast, it says, hear but the voice of God. You fast and you put the work in, and God will lead you to where you're headed to.
Mhm.
I love it. I love it.
Awesome.
So
Thank
you
you.
talked about mental health.
Yes.
What are some of the things you do to achieve mental health wellness? If you could just share some stuff that you do.
Mental health goes beyond sitting in front of a therapist. It's your commitment to change. Resonate with because there's so many. I think the misconception with therapy is people go sit in front of a therapist and they're just like, oh my God, this therapist was awful. But the people don't know that there's so many different styles of therapy. So some therapists have an approach where they play with your mind and they'll ask you questions and they have the hopes that what you saying this stuff, you'll realize that what you're saying is a problem. Now for everyone that may not work. So for me, I had a therapy style called cognitive behavior therapy, and essentially what it is was it was going through an outline of the trauma that you experienced in your life and looking for the lessons that one could learn and reinvigorating your mind to change negative thoughts to positive thoughts. and
Mm-hmm.
that's how you heal and move past trauma. Because, at one point I was addicted to my story, and my therapist said, okay, the first year we really honed in on everything you went through, but I deal with patients who are victorious, not victims. And
Mm.
wow, to heal, you cannot keep on saying, well, mommy and daddy isn't wrong because she did the best with what she knew. That doesn't change that the
Oh, he
effect of the
froze.
things that she did and what it had on me. That doesn't change that the effect of the things that she did and what it had on me. So for me, mental wellness is so important. Your friend can be a therapist, but that's a big charge for you to dump your stuff on someone. For me, some of my friends, because of the work I've done, some of my friends may never sit in front of a therapist because I've done so much therapy and I'm rooted in person and we do the work together. But we have built friendships rooted in respect and understanding that my friends know when I put that hat on, I want the best for you. So what I'm about to say is the truth, and it may hurt, but when I tell you what I'm about to tell you, don't get defensive. You know what I'm saying? Take it as constructive criticism. And therapy teaches you how to tell the truth. I had to do an investigation of what the truth was to me. I had to look at everything that I was taught growing up, and I had to say, okay, growing up. And again, that doesn't mean that the people who were raising us was wrong. They did the best they could with what they knew. Sometimes hiding things was what they knew. They knew that, what, the truth hurts, so let me lessen the truth and tell you what you need to know.
Hmm.
Did I answer your question?
Oh yeah. Well, how you see mental health, like, thank you for breaking that down, because it's good to have a sense
Good.
of like
Yeah.
where you coming from with that. So it sounds like therapy is one practice. What do you do for, like, just on a regular, to like just maintain happiness and joy and peace in your life?
I am a key, okay? When I'm not yelling, I'm having a good time.
What does a good time look like for you?
Good time for me, life has changed. When I was younger and I was living in New York City, I always thought that I was fun in New York City, baby. If you told me I had an ID, ooh, let me not tell myself. I had a lot of fun growing up, though. Ooh, I had a sensational time growing up. That's why when I got to high school, we got to senior year, all my friends were all doing activities, and I was excluded. So I said, "What's the tea like?" And like, we do this. We had student government association, so I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to build their resumes because I knew that we were coming from a minority school, and during the college application process, all of us weren't playing sports, so academics will take you far, and so will building a resume. So nobody invited me to stuff, and one of them told me, "Oh, the reason why you don't invite us to stuff is because you told us you don't show with children, and that you go to places where there's bouncers, and you don't go to high school parties." And I said, "Oh my God, I said that?" And I said, I was probably so insecure and so obnoxious and trying to just be seen that on the weekends I'll be smoking hookah. This is when people first started smoking hookah, baby. When hookah was $25 with a $15 refill. Before hookah, so my all time, I like to travel. My good girls, they live. Some of my friends I met in college, and some of my friends I've had friends that I've had since I was young in New York City. One of my friends, we've been in each other like what 16 years now. We met in Catholic school, and we've been friends ever since. So when I'm not healing myself, I'm having a sensational time in my life, living life to the fullest.
That's good. You talked about having like friends. How do you select your friends? Like, are you selective? How do you pick your friends?
Oh, I'm very selective on the people that I choose to have around me. People say that it could be lonely at the top, but baby, it's not going to be lonely for me. Because when you treat people well, you treat you have a lot of more people around you, and we are big on boundaries and we are big on communication. So even if you and your parents had nasty communication in your life, I'm that friend when I come into your life that I'm going to show you something different because I've done the work and I know how you want to show up.
Mm.
Your trauma shows up. Oh, this is what you and your mother do. You know what I'm saying? So because that's what you're accustomed to, even though for the past 5 years I've shown you this, the Young Vincent says only often on the path to self-discovery, there is a constant battle in between who you once were and who you are trying to become. And who you once were knows you so well that that's the person who's going to show up every single time. But that's when you use the opportunity to let the new you show up. So what happens is moment by moment, you got to be making the next best decision. And that's hard work. That means that when you get upset or you feel yourself getting upset, instead of responding to the anger, let me be more positive. Let me do something differently. And that's hard work for some people. And that's the work that I've done that I hope to help people do.
Wow, Edwin, you are like so amazing. It's 9:33, and I know you have like a hard stop. And Juliet, guys, like I appreciate you for taking the time out to host with me, and for us to meet one another. We're definitely we're gonna close out today a little earlier. But we have a lot of great things coming up next week, and it's gonna be amazing. Do you guys have any closing remarks for tonight?
Well, I do have a little more time. If you guys have any more questions, I can answer a question or two.
Okay. So Julia, go ahead.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, no, Julia, answer your question, girl. Find one.
Oh, okay. I got you. Okay, so what would you what kind of advice would you give somebody who is trying to manifest greatness in their life? What would you tell them?
You have to see it, believe it, achieve it. Let's say it again. See it, believe it, and achieve it.
Believe it and
It.
achieve it.
Faith is now I'm going biblical now. Faith is the sustenance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen.
No,
Man,
it's
yeah,
freezing.
it's freezing. Yeah.
And what I mean,
No.
that's what manifestation is. When you believe in God and you trust God, you cannot have doubt. My friends was just talking about this earlier. God is not 99.99%. God is 100%. The minute you even have a little bit of doubt, nothing you ever speak into existence will come into fruition because you don't believe it will really happen for yourself. And for me, every single thing that I've happened in my life, I don't compete with people because I don't have to compete because I know what's for me will be for me. And I know that I'm so dynamic and I'm so unique and everyone was put on this world to do something different. And people say, what is your purpose in life? I feel like I'm getting one step closer to finding what my purpose is in life. But I know that I want to help people get through life's guaranteed hardships because hardships are inevitable. They're gonna come
Mhm.
after the other. But who shows up to meet that problem is what speaks to your healing and where you are. And that's what I want to help people do.
I have a question, Edwin. Like, we always talk about like different books that we're reading and,
Mhm.
self-development. That's like a big thing. I've talked about a few books. Julia, you and I talked about like a few things. What books are you reading right now that you can like tell the audience to like pick up?
So right now I'm reading The Seed of the Soul. It's a
Mhm.
book on spirituality and transforming your mind and spiritual enlightenment. The text is a little dense. You got to read it a few times to understand it. But once you take time, it tells you that all it is doing is reminding you of that which you come from. So it says, I'm not here to tell you more information that's new. I'm here to remind you of what the fiber and the being that we are made of, which is peace, love. Love is kind, it's not harmful. So it just takes you on a journey. I think the 7 Habits of Effective Highly People is a great book too, to just get your mind started on just thinking differently. And I do daily devotionals, and one of them that I do specifically is Iyama, and it's what's the name of the book? Do I have it right here?
Hold on 1 second.
It's called Acts of Faith, and it's a daily devotional for people of color. And each day it gives you a different devotional,
Hmm.
a different motivational, and just something. Each day it empowers you, and it's in 4 different phases. And I think it's money and three is I forgot the other 3, but it takes you on a journey on the year. It's 365 devotionals, and each day you do one, and it's supposed to help you each day just think differently.
Hmm. And how long have you been like on your personal development journey?
In this world of Zeus Network, you see all they do is fight there, and they just display gays in a way that doesn't represent all of us as a whole. All of us don't fight. All of us are not messy. All of us are not promiscuous. And I feel like I've truly lost the essence of hard work. Everybody thinks that they're going to be the next Cardi B, the next Saucy Santana, the next Beyonce, but the reality is that it's called the 1% of the population for a reason. Everybody won't make it to that level, to that big stardom. But how about you manage celebrities instead of trying to be the celebrity? There's more money in managing than the person who's talent. Because guess what? Talent will always persist. That talent better stay relevant, sweetie, or on to the next. But everybody just wants to be big. Everybody wants to be a TikTok or YouTuber, but nobody works hard anymore and puts the hard work in and say, Mama, says that shortcuts. She said, "Don't take shortcuts in life because if you take shortcuts, you miss out on lessons you could have learned taking the long run. So I like to take the long run for everything. That way I can learn and optimize and soak in all the knowledge, as opposed to trying to take shortcuts to success."
Wow, Edwin, you are
Wow,
amazing. You
right,
are getting that. I mean, are you
right,
getting 25?
I appreciate that so much.
right.
Thank you. I
Yep.
appreciate that. As for watching, you can find me on Instagram, Humi Eddie.
Mhm.
You can also stay tuned because I got some projects in the work. Can't discuss them just yet, but you'll see me again. If you go to my Instagram and see where I once was, you could just imagine where I'm
Tell
headed.
the audience what your Instagram is.
My Instagram is Humi Eddie.
Okay. And Julia, how can everyone find GSA?
Garifuna Sisterhoods of Atlanta. So
Uh,
on IG or in Facebook.
on Facebook.
Oh,
So
God, connect.
Mhm.
I didn't know there was too many Garifunas here in Atlanta.
Yeah, we got a little community that's growing. A lot coming from New York too. So yeah, we definitely
I
got
want
a.
to know the difference because this is my love in hip hop. And let me tell you something why I walked away from Garifunas. And yeah, I get upset if they want to get upset, baby. But I'm gonna go too. I love a fiddle. I love to dance around. So, baby, I know my culture, so I can talk about it. And no strength in me
No,
to
it's
feel
amazing.
for more resources. No shade, just the routine. And I just want to be able to help my community think better and think wider and expand
Mhm. Mhm.
that's the people's minds. And the scandals, it's always a scandal, but nobody's getting paid. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of you are operating like love on love and hip hop, but they get paid on that platform to act a mess. None of you get paid, and you know that that's a fact. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? You guys just do scandalous things, and
Just
it's
because.
coming, and
Mhm.
it's just they teaching their children to do the same, and it just becomes a cycle. And it's just unfair for us to come from a country that was saturated with poverty. Me and my father wasn't that close, but his last words to me was so kind. He said, "Don't be one, not be one less. Don't be a Honduran that got to
Mhm.
come to this country and make more of themselves and not seize the opportunity." He said, "Look at me, look at your mom. We are laborers, but you have an opportunity to go as far as you can." And that's what needs to be instilled into our Garifuna community. That it's attainable. And I did it at 25 years old. I used to be in Honduras at the fair dues and for Semana Santa. I was incorporated in my culture, but I felt stagnant at one point, which is why I left it. And it's like it's the same shit, excuse my language, it's over and over and over. And I felt like no one was growing and I wasn't growing. And then ever since I left music, baby, go tune into my Instagram. You'll see where I went.
Growth
Like
is
I've been
life.
around places. No, I hear you. I hear everything you're saying, and
Yeah.
that's part of what we this organization is about. Is like helping our people navigate resources and move breaking those barriers. Like we got a lot of work ahead of us, so we need beautiful souls who are out here who are about that work. To come together.
I'm so excited. And Norma, I see that you said thank you for sharing your stories. I love you, Prima.
We love you too, Edwin. Listen, this was amazing. We have to do this again, and we have to link up. I mean, you guys are in Atlanta. I have to come out to visit. Let's
Hmm.
do something big together. Thank you guys for coming out, Edwin, Juliet. We're gonna do this again.
Yes, that's what us making a difference. And us right here, if we touch one soul, then we've made a difference.
Hmm.
So if all of us are trying to make a difference together, it's not only one soul, it is three souls together. And now what our experience and wanting to seek change, you must be the change that you seek. And if we lead by example, maybe we could bring some other people to the other side, or they could stay broke.
That's the goal. That's definitely the goal, and I hope
Facts.
that this can do that for us and for everyone that's watching. So
Yeah.
thank you guys, and thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for
Yeah,
coming.
send your topics in, guys. We could do a topic a week. We
Yeah.
could do different things. I'm really about it. You know the issues in our community. We could talk about money. We could talk about finding your own man. We could talk about not sleeping with your homegirl's man. We could talk about so many things like your best friend was sleeping with your mother's husband, but then you was at the house.
Ooh, child.
How do you even think that that's okay for you to come into these people's house, smile, and sleep in this lady's man?
Yo. Yo.
I read a post one day. She said, "Señoras y señores, presento choke. You see, I think life is a God got me for nasty way. She said, señores y señores, les presento a la golfa del siglo. I said, you see what these Nigerians are talking? They're very dramatic, but you know what? She was talking about a whore who was sleeping with her husband. And you know, we're not gonna attack her because she was wrong, but you know, that's just the mess we come from. Like it's the truth, and we're gonna be honest. That's the mess that still goes on today in our culture. These bitches get no checks, okay? We're gonna leave it at that. We're gonna be positive. Achieve, believe, and
Yo,
you.
yeah, we can't give it to them all, Edwin. We can't give it to them all. We need
All
we
right,
need to
I'm
cut
sorry.
them off.
Like, achieve,
We'll give them the good stuff for the
I want to
weeks to
leave you with
come. We got to give them the good stuff for the weeks to come.
believe, and you.
Oh, wait. Oh,
It's like a preview right now.
yeah, God.
Like the
Yeah.
trailer.
Wait, what was the word?
I'm tired of the mess. It's just unacceptable. I hear the stories all the time, which is why I left the community. And y'all know it's the truth. Y'all know that that's what y'all do. Find your own man, sweetie. Don't do that.
Oh my
Or
God.
at least if you're going to participate, because I'm not saying I didn't get it through with you, but baby, can't nobody ever come and find and address me because I deal with people whose affairs are in order. Like, come on, don't go chill in people's houses and sleep with their men. Have some sort of proof. But at least if you can see and say, I'm not in that house no more. I'm not going to chill at the crib no more. At least that. No, you're going to still come and have dinner. Shame on you.
Edwin, who was this person?
That's not relevant. It's not like it's so familiar because it sounds like something that our culture would do. It's not relevant with it.
They don't need a name. They don't need no name.
Oh my God.
Lying.
Listen, this is really we can't give them everything. Listen,
It's not what's up, good. That was just enough. We see how we took the people on the journey just
the beginning of what's to come, okay? Because
before
on fire.
to teach you a lesson. Before you have to, we're going to teach you a lesson first. There's no entertainment unless you don't learn something. That's how it works here. So the entertainment is on the other side.
Well, definitely. Listen, tune in next week, Tuesday. You know, we here live. We coming back. A lot of great things are happening. Great laughs today. We had fun. We shared a lot of great information. We have GSA coming out. What is your next? I think you're gonna have like a few events coming up. You can promote that now.
It's coming up. Go to my Instagram and stay tuned.
Okay, Julia. Any next thing?
Same. Check us out on Facebook and IG.
We're going to teach you, honey. I'm going to have your.
Huh?
When Carla comes to town, girl, you coming over for dinner.
Yeah, I'll make sure I take her. I bring her with me.
Yeah, we gotta.
Back to New York and make us a.
Oh my
Oh
God.
no.
I'm gonna leave you with this. I cook, I clean, and no man will claim me. No man will claim me.
Well,
I'm
definitely.
everything. We're gonna
Let me ask you this one last question. Let me ask you.
man.
Are you dating right now?
No, no man will claim me. I cook, I clean, I'm a vibe. I'm just such a great time, and no man will claim me. So I'm excited for us to go on the journey together and unpack this together. Why someone always like me has no man? I have a few stories for y'all, so I don't even want to victimize myself because I have been a participant in shit I had no business being a participant in. And they said for every action there's an
Right.
equal reaction. So you put your hand on the fire, you can't get not to get burned. So no, I'm single. I'm actually alone, but God is with me, and I got friends who love me. But you know what? I'll give you this. I'll give you this exclusive. I have no man, my love, but I have an amazing sex life, and I have safe sex.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. We love that. Kudos to safe sex.
That's right. That's right. And love is love. So you
Yeah,
got love
love is
from.
love.
Okay.
That's right. We'll definitely stay tuned. There's a lot of great stuff coming up in the coming weeks. Thank you guys for tuning in. Guys, thank you for joining us today.
Guys, love you, cousin. Call me.
Bye, guys.
All right. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Oh, we're doing content, girl. We locked in. I like you.